independence from tyranny, I can think of no better place to speak to you as we reflect on the current state of our union.
You going to bed?
Yeah.
Tonight, as we watched our nation's lawmakers gather for a joint session of Congress, we did not hear the truth from our president. So let's speak plainly and honestly. And let me ask you, the American people watching at home, 3 questions. Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad? Is the president working for you? As I campaigned for governor last year, I traveled to every corner of Virginia, and I heard the same pressing concern everywhere. Costs are too high in housing, healthcare, energy, and childcare. And I know
why I get triggered when
Okay, I'm done with the speech. That was deathly boring. So that's a super normal Democratic speech. The president's a bad guy, and like they do that fake way of talking that drives me crazy. And let me ask you this, and I have read this very carefully on a prompter, and that is why I'm talking like this. All right, fine, a little bit more.
And even though the Supreme Court struck these tariffs down 4 days ago, the damage to us, the American people, has already been done. Meanwhile, the president is planning for new tariffs, another massive tax hike on you and your family. And Republicans in Congress, they remain unwilling to assert their constitutional authority to stop him. They're making your life harder. They're making your life more expensive. They're even making it more difficult to see a doctor. Rural health clinics in Virginia and across the country are already closing their doors thanks to the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, championed by the president and Republicans in Congress. And tonight, the president celebrated this law, the one threatening rural hospitals, stripping healthcare from millions of Americans and driving up costs in energy and housing, all while cutting food programs for hungry kids. But here in Virginia, I am working with our state legislature to lower costs and make the Commonwealth more affordable.
So she partly won on affordability. She was in Congress and ran for governor in Virginia.
Democrats across the country are laser focused.
It's a good point about the rural hospitals. We don't talk about it enough. A lot of them are closing down, and it is because of Trump's bill.
In the most innovative and exceptional nation in the history of the world, Americans deserve to know that their leaders are focused on addressing the problems that keep them up at night. Problems that dictate where you live, whether you can afford to start a business, or whether you have to skip a prescription in order to buy groceries. So I'll ask again, is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? We all know the answer is no. I grew up in a house of service. My mother was a nurse, and my father was a career law enforcement officer. I began my career by following in my father's footsteps as a federal agent, working money laundering and narcotics cases. I worked side by side with local and state police to keep our community safe and to uphold and enforce the law. Law enforcement officers across the country know that it is a unique responsibility to do the serious work of investigating crimes, comforting victims, and making arrests. It's about building trust, and that requires an abiding sense of duty and commitment to community. And yet, our president has sent poorly trained federal agents into our cities, where they have arrested and detained American citizens and people who aspire to be Americans. And they have done it without a warrant. They have ripped nursing mothers away from their babies. They have sent children, a little boy in a blue bunny hat, children to far-off detention centers. And they have killed American citizens in our streets. And they have done it all with their faces masked from accountability. Every minute spent sowing fear is a minute not spent investigating murders, crimes against children, or the criminals defrauding seniors of their life savings. Our president told us tonight that we are safer because these agents arrest mothers and detain children? Think about that. Our broken immigration system is something to be fixed, not an excuse for unaccountable agents to terrorize our communities.
Okay, I'm done. Let's get out of it. Okay, look, it wasn't that bad. I mean, at least she, like, the point about the rural hospitals never gets made. I'm glad she made that. She's talking about Alex Preddy and Renee Good being killed and the cute little boy in the blue bunny hat. It's a little bit of a political thing to talk about the blue bunny hat, but it's not no big deal. But overall, good. I'm glad she mentioned that. I said she's just too, like, standard politician. I just couldn't, like, we're all gonna fall asleep. Like I want somebody, like, it's not that they have to be fiery. It has to they have to be genuine and authentic. So she's bragging about being popo, and nothing wrong with that. It's here come to 5-0, I get it. But she's talking about how they're masked. That's good. But anyway, it's just too standard, too boring. Okay, let's try Summer Lee for a couple of minutes to see how that goes. Okay, so this is the more of a progressive response. Congresswoman from Pittsburgh, so we like her. Justice Democrat. We're standing by. So Summer Lee, another reason why we like her, AIPAC spent around, I think, the usual is around $4 million. I think they spent around $4 million against her, and she won anyway. So that was awesome. And I like that progressives are doing a different response, not just the standard stale one that you're going to get from the corporate Democrats. Are we on it? We got it?
Against neighbor. And sometimes he succeeds.
The Working Families Party.
And so you have to ask, who benefits from his rhetoric?
We got both of them going on at the same time. We're working on it. And are you telling me that I should read comments? Because I'll read comments.
Authoritarianism. Any response that doesn't acknowledge that truth is a disservice to Americans who deserve and need honesty right now. I listened to Donald Trump's speech tonight. While Trump and his friends profit off his presidency, he's gaslighting us. He wants to convince working families that we're better off under his regime. But we know the truth. Our country is in crisis. For millions of Americans, affordability is out of reach. Trump has driven up the unemployment rate, cutting thousands of federal jobs across the country. Everything he does is making Americans less safe at home and abroad. He's bringing us to the brink of wars in the Middle East and South America. And at home, ICE agents are hunting down human beings and cities are under siege. The FBI is raiding election offices in Georgia. Students are being disappeared for protesting tyranny and genocide in Palestine. The environmental protections we earned after a generation of advocacy are being stripped away. Educators are facing attacks on public and higher education because diversity and truth threaten corporate power. Workers are facing union busting and retaliation. And the Republican-led Congress, it's abdicated its post as a co-equal branch and yielded itself to the oligarchs in the White House. Trump bragged about his tariffs, but they were never about creating jobs. They were a tool for Trump to bully countries or companies into paying fealty to him personally, and about making working people pay the price for his tax cuts for billionaires.
She's a way
The courts
better
have blocked his illegal actions, but for too many small businesses and consumers, the damage is done. He played up his tax cuts, but forgot to mention that it's $1 trillion giveaway to the wealthiest and well-connected.
Nice.
He talks a big game about banning stock trading, but wants to exempt himself so he can keep on cashing in. The state of the union is dire. We can't afford to believe Trump's lies, and we have to pay attention to his actions. This is not a normal time, and our response to it can't be politics as usual. Trump's speech wasn't a list of accomplishments. It was more like an obituary for the country working people built and a celebration for the billionaires who want to strip it for parts. An obituary for our right to vote, for the ability to make rent or the chance to own a home, for good jobs with the right to organize and strike and stick up for each other. Trump's policies are hurting our communities. Working people feel it every single day. We certainly feel it where I come from in Western Pennsylvania, where I was born, raised, and now represent in Congress. I know what it's like to come from a working class background, to be burdened by student debt, and to witness our communities be neglected time and again. I ran for office because I wanted to make sure the marginalized and unheard voices of my district had representation. Special interests and dark money went hard against me, and still we won. In my district, Pennsylvania's 12th, people work way harder than their paychecks and bank accounts will ever reflect. It's a place where teachers and nurses like my sister show up, even when they're exhausted.
We're
still workers carry the pride of generations in their hands, and where restaurant cooks start before sunrise and don't sit down again until midnight. And where childcare workers do some of the hardest work in America and still struggle to pay the rent. We have world-class hospitals, yet people can't access the care they need. Insurance companies drive families into bankruptcy. Parents work 2 jobs and still can't afford childcare. Patients ration medicine just to make it to the end of the month. No matter how hard we work, we continue to struggle. That's the real state of our union. This is not an accident. Trump is failing all of us, but he is not failing everybody.
Here it is again.
Trump promised to lower our costs. Instead, he gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% while cutting your Medicaid and SNAP by $1.1 trillion. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania alone, 300,000 people are going to lose Medicaid within the next year. He promised us public safety, but we have an FBI director who's focused on flying on private jets to concerts and hockey games using our tax dollars. Trump promised accountability and transparency, but his DOJ is violating our subpoena, protecting pedophiles and burying documents that name him in the Epstein files.
There
you go. Make government more efficient, but now seniors can't get anybody on the phone to explain why their Social Security payments stopped. While Americans' bank accounts are being drained, Trump and his family have gained billions of dollars from foreign payments and corrupt oligarchs. And while our hearts break for children trapped in ICE detention, Palantir gets to walk away with $1 billion contract. This is corporate greed and profiteering, and it's a moral failure. We live in the wealthiest country in the world, yet corporate profits grow and wages don't. The stock market may be helping CEOs, but it does nothing for working people's pocketbooks. The portfolios of AI moguls that see no place for you and me and their future might be growing, but not as fast as the unemployment rate for Black women that's up 20% just from last year. The concentration of wealth has created 2 separate Americas, one for a working person and one for the wealthy. And for years, powerful men like Donald Trump and Elon Musk have used the politics of fear and division, telling us that we should blame our neighbors for our struggles. They need you to believe the problem is the immigrant or the trans kid or someone who looks differently or worships differently than you. They want you to look anywhere but at them. So whether you live in a city where the rent is too damn high, or in a small town where the factory closed down, or whether you come from a community hit by gun violence, opioids, floods, or fires, working families are facing this same reality. Wages that don't keep up with costs, in a system built for corporate CEOs, and a government that is just not doing enough. This rate system keeps squeezing the people who have it hardest. The communities with the least power, the workers with the least protection, and the families already living on the edge. But we don't have to accept that. The rich, connected, and well-protected may want us to believe this has to remain the status quo, but we can work to make things right. We've seen working people come together from the civil rights movement to the creation of labor unions to change this country for the better, despite powerful opposition. So right now, we need bold policy proposals that meet this moment. We can build an America that works for the many and not just the money. An America where you can actually afford a home, where healthcare is guaranteed, with affordable childcare and education, with paid family and medical leave, and jobs with a union standard. We can create a just and humane immigration system. And let's be clear, you can't reform oppression or hatred. You must abolish it. We can have environmental policies that put the health of our people and our planet over the profits of oil and gas executives. We can fund education instead of endless war and genocide in Palestine or Sudan or anywhere else in this world. That vision is not radical. It is the bare minimum required for a healthy democracy and for people to pursue happiness and live with dignity. Imagine what it would mean if healthcare wasn't tied to your job, and where you can see a doctor without checking your bank account first. Or no parent ever rationing insulin. No family starting a GoFundMe to survive cancer. Medicare for All doesn't just save money. It saves lives. It keeps families out of bankruptcy. Imagine a national jobs program that guarantees dignified union work, rebuilding roads and bridges, caring for seniors and children, installing clean energy, building affordable housing. No more telling young people there's nothing here for you, or no more small towns hollowed out and just forgotten. A good job does more than pay the bills. It builds pride and community.
That's so true.
Imagine childcare that doesn't swallow half your paycheck, and paid leave that allows you to heal, to bond with your newborn, or to care for a parent without risking your livelihood. When people have the basic secured, stress goes down, small businesses grow, families stay together, and democracy actually works because people aren't trapped in survival mode. When the foundation is strong, people can breathe again. We, the people, need this. We need a healthy democracy and systems that work for us. We can have this now. Don't let anybody tell you we can't afford it. We somehow find endless money for ICE, for private prisons to warehouse Black and brown people, and for bombs to be sent abroad. But we're told healthcare and childcare are too expensive. And when we begin questioning those priorities, the powerful try to divide us once more. But that old playbook is losing its grip. When Trump returned to the White House for a second time, too many institutions surrendered. But ordinary people stood up when federal immigration agents invaded Los Angeles and Minneapolis, and they killed Keith Porter and Renee Good. Now it's Preeti. People didn't stand back. They stood together, protesting, documenting abuses, building mutual aid networks, demanding that ICE gets out of their communities and that Congress not give them another penny. I believe the American people deserves leaders who are as brave as they are, who will wake up every morning ready to fight like hell. This year, we can flip Congress against Trump and against this great status quo, but we can't do it by electing more of the same. The Democratic Party is at a crossroads. On one side are millions of working people demanding bold action, lower costs, higher wages, Medicare for all. On the other side are corporate donors and consultants who are terrified of upsetting the very interests that rigged this economy in the first place. That tension shows up in watered down bills and speeches that sound bold but govern small. You can't promise relief while protecting corporations driving up the prices. You can't stand with labor while taking checks from the union-busting CEOs. And you cannot defeat MAGA while keeping billionaires comfortable. In other words, you can't serve two masters. That's why the Working Families Party exists, to help us bring bolder people into government who better reflect the vision of working people. Look at Congresswoman Delia Ramirez, a daughter of Guatemalan immigrants in Chicago who expanded Medicaid, built affordable housing, and protected people from eviction as a state legislator before bringing that same fight to Congress. Or Congresswoman Latifah Simon, who worked for more than 30 years helping survivors of violence and trafficking. Now she's here in Congress to push for affordable housing and transit that connects people and that helps them get to work, and for an economy that doesn't treat Black and brown communities as disposable. Look at New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani, who took on Andrew Cuomo and his corporate backers and won. He led a movement of renters, young people, and working families who had been told their voices did not matter. He proved that when you show up, when you speak clearly about how to meet people's basic needs, the people respond. And now, look at New Jersey's newest Democratic nominee, Anna Lilia Mejia. She started her race at 5%, She was outspent 10-1, and she still won because she outworked party bosses and billionaires. And as a former director of the New Jersey Working Families Party, she had a record of delivering, raising the minimum wage, guaranteeing paid sick days, and defending voting rights. And there is more of this to come. Our democracy does not work when big money owns politicians. Americans are sick of a corrupt elite few causing all this harm. And that's why I introduced a bill to abolish the super PACs they use to control our country. The obscenely rich shouldn't be able to call the shots in our democracy, and they shouldn't be able to escape accountability. That's also why I moved to subpoena the DOJ to release the full, unredacted Epstein files back in July. I know what it feels like to be targeted by billionaires, to face attack ads and smear campaigns meant to silence you. It was demoralizing and exhausting. It was also a waste of their money because our movement won, and we have to keep winning. Because when we have progressives in Congress, we get legislation that meets the moment. We get people who fight for accountability and justice. We get opportunities to do the right thing.
So
if you're sick of the corruption and the cruelty in this administration, if you're frustrated by Democrats who speak boldly but deliver cautiously, or sometimes even vote with MAGA, then believe that change can and will happen if we build political power together. That's what we're doing at the Working Families Party. Join us. Let me end with this. Trump is trying to steal everything that isn't nailed down for himself and his obscenely wealthy friends. But this level of thievery requires consent. It requires silence, exhaustion, resignation, but we do not have to consent. Our organized labor and our organized money are far more powerful than they want us to believe. So join us. We can reject authoritarianism. We can reject corporate power. We can get money out of politics. We can choose a different path, one where we have each other's backs, because working people are the majority. And when we come together and fight, we win. Thank you and good night.
Oh, I'm shocked by that speech. So I came in, I was going to just watch 1 or 2 minutes of it and dump out of it. I thought it was going to be a normal, boring, political speech. We did the same with Abigail Spanberger. She was giving the official Democratic, address and response to the State of the Union from Trump. And we dumped out of it in 2 minutes because she's like reading the prompter and she's doing the standard. And then I said this. And we cannot do that, and like bland words and stuff. I expected the same from Summer Lee. Oh my God, where you been keeping her? Okay, the East Coast is buried in snow, but it's apparently summertime. So that was a terrific speech by Summer Lee there. I'm shocked that I listened to the whole thing. And so why was it great? Well, number one, she spoke plainly. She said things like, "We can't stand this level of thievery." Hey, Democrats don't normally say things like that. That was great, right? She's talking about getting money out of politics. She's got a bill on abolishing super PACs. So now, okay, at the same time, let me just be frustrated for a second, because she was a terrific speaker there and made all the points that we care about. She mentioned the Epstein files. She mentioned Israel's genocide. She talked about protecting and delivering for real Americans, child care, Medicare, things that affect your real lives, etc. Well, where's Summer Lee been? Like, why isn't she all over TV? Why isn't she going on all the podcasts? Why isn't she going on online media? She'd make a terrific spokesperson for the Democrats. And then, or Working Families Party, or progressives, or populists, I don't really care. Just get her out there because she's saying the right things. So, this isn't about partisanship. Like, she was calling out everybody, the corrupt elite on both sides. And she said, then she called out the other Democrats. That's where I was like, whoa, we gotta stay. She was talking about how, look, you can't serve two masters. She was not talking about the Republicans at that time. She was talking about the Democrats. She's saying on the one hand, the Democratic Party, there's all this, the people on our side and the people that want all the things that are our policies, stuff that I say all the time. On the other hand, you got the Democratic Party and all their corporate donors. Also something I say all the time. And she's like, that's at loggerheads. That's why the bills get watered down. I'm not sure I've ever seen a Democratic politician say that out loud and on air. So, because they're like, oh no, you can't call out your Democratic colleagues. Oh no, their feelings. Oh my God. Yeah, they're corrupt and destroying all the bills, but oh no, they're our colleagues. That didn't sound like that, Summer Lee. She was naming names. By the way, if you're wondering if she's really, genuine about all that and has she fought off the establishment, AIPAC came for her. In her first race, I think it was about $4 million that they spent against her, different Israeli lobby groups, because she wouldn't bend the knee to Israel. So she proved herself there. A lot of courage and won that fight. It was a super close and tough fight, and she found a way to pull it off. And now I see why. She's an excellent speaker. For God's sake, get people like that out on TV. Instead, all we have is like Chuck Schumer. It looks like he's about to die. Like, the donors, I love the donors. I mean, Trump's bad. I love Israel. Like, come on, man. Give us more Summer Lee. All right, that at least energized me. At the end of the night, I didn't expect that. Okay, nice speech. Totally unexpected. Okay. I got worked up there. I did not see that coming at all. All right, now, time for what you've all been waiting for, / none of you. But still, let's do it, okay? Now I will deliver the actual State of the Union. The State of the Union sucks. We're in a lot of trouble, guys. So why? First, let's talk about domestic policy. Oh, yay, we passed $4 trillion tax cut. How many tax cuts are we going to pass? Of that, $1.1 trillion alone was for people making above $500,000 a year. Did they need an extra trillion? So the $38 trillion debt is about to go to $42 trillion on those tax cuts alone. But wait, they're giving away more of your money. So the Pentagon, we asked them to cut it. Both the right wing and the left wing asked them to cut it. And what did the Congress do? They said, no, we're going to add to it. And they are up to nearly $1 trillion. And now Pete Hegseth proposed, Donald Trump agreed, and they're having a conversation about bringing it up to $1.5 trillion. Today I read an article about how even the Pentagon and even all the pork lords in the Defense Department and defense contractors don't know how to spend all that money. It feels like the donor class is going in for one last giant robbery before they get caught. Because they are about to get caught by the American people. We're all sick of it. They never do anything for us. But meanwhile, giant giveaway to the rich and the tax cuts, giant giveaway to the defense contractors at the Pentagon. And then, of course, the elephant in the room, Israel. Non-stop giveaways to Israel. Trump just gave them $4 billion, and before that he gave them $8.6 billion. Before that we give them the $4 billion every year. Before that Biden gave them $21 billion. We attacked Iran for them initially. Now we're going to go back and attack Iran again. That's I'm sorry, Iran. Did I say Iraq? It gets confusing because they're using the same exact talking points for Iran. You remember all the press saying like, oh, in Iraq, I can't believe we sent weapons of mass destruction when it turned out there weren't any. In this case, Trump's like, we destroyed their nuclear facilities. And 30 seconds later, he's like, and we have to destroy their nuclear program. You just destroyed it. What, are you going to double destroy it? So no, it's just garbage to try to get you to fight Israel's war for it. The other giant elephant in the room is the Epstein files. Okay, guys, they've been protecting these predators for decades. Epstein was part of Iran-Contra, so CIA has known about him since the 1980s. So our government doesn't represent us. The State of the Union is in a disastrous shape. And we haven't even started the Iran war yet. That is going to go, if I am right, we'll see. My guess is it's going to go very poorly, disastrously. And it's going to drag us down further. Prices are still up at the supermarket. Housing prices are still up. None of that got fixed. All there's been is giant giveaways to the donor class. And then there's the AI apocalypse coming. So all of the Wall Street is bragging. Oh my God, AI is going to wipe out all these jobs. It's going to lead to efficiencies, and you're all going to have cooking robots. But we're going to get rid of 25% of our workforce. Wait, hold on. Say that last part again. You're going to get rid of 25% of your workforce? That's us. They're going to get rid of us. And what did Trump say about AI? Nothing. Is he prepared for the AI apocalypse and the massive unemployment that it's going to bring? Not at all. So prices are still up, but unemployment is now rising. So economically, we're in terrible shape. And militarily, we're starting wars in Venezuela and Iran and maybe Cuba and maybe Greenland. Total insanity. So I believe that the State of the Union is on the brink of collapse. So it's not that the stock market isn't up. The Dow's above 50,000. Woo! Okay, oh, the rich must be so happy. And like his billionaire cabinet gets up in the fake State of the Union given by Donald Trump. They're like, yes, tax cuts for us. Yes, the Dow's above 50,000. And then a second later, he's bragging about, yeah, we cut Medicare, Medicaid, I should say. Yeah, you didn't save anything. You just took it away from people. And you gave it to Scott Bessent, your Treasury Secretary, who probably made billions from your tax cut. So, guys, if the very rich have never been richer, the middle class has never been poorer, and it doesn't look like our politicians represent us at all, it doesn't even look like they represent this country. So I believe that disaster is impending. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that is the actual state of our union. How's that for cheery? Okay, so, but that is real. All right, as I told you, that would be short and sweet, making this the only thing that was short and sweet tonight. We love you guys. We're going to see you tomorrow, and this is called Bye-Bye.
Like extremely political.